Very good afternoon to all of you. I think the previous speaker, Mr. Mumba, I think he made my job easier because I think a lot of context was set by him for my presentation as well. So today I would like to talk about the impact of AI on the mobility industry, but in more than mobility, I would focus a little bit more on the automotive. If you look at automotives, the automobile has been a symbol of freedom as well as one of the marvels of the history. And in the last 100 years, the way automotive has transformed as well as how it has transformed our life, it has been really tremendous. So if you look at the industry, I would always like to start with respect to the trends here because that gives the context to the entire presentation. So there are three things which the industry is aiming for, which is the joy of use, the ease of use, and very important is safety because we are talking about safety critical systems. And the transformation has happened in all these areas. So if you look at the two decades back, what we were looking in our car and what we are looking at this point of time has drastically changed. Previously, we were talking about the price, the mileage, the air conditioning, the basic features, and so on. And now when we look at it, we are talking about car as an extended space for us, an extended office, an extended home, where we also, the Bangaloreans especially, we also spend a lot of time in our own vehicles, right? So safety and security, connectivity, and the personalized experience is something which is driving the industry at this point of time. And there are, I would call it as, categorized is at 5 and 5 plus 1 maybe. The first one is electrification. Electrification, I think I don't have to talk about it. One of the previous speakers talked about it. Connected, the car is becoming an IoT device on wheels, which is permanently connected to the internet, which means that it has all the features that you can look at your smartphone yearly getting updated with OTA. At the same time, susceptible to a lot of risk as well because of the cybersecurity and the data privacy issues. Autonomous vehicles, yes, it is driverless cars, level 1 to level 5 we are talking about. In India now, L2 plus is a reality. If you look at the MG as well as the Mahindra teams, they have already launched the L2 vehicles. And yesterday also Mahindra launched one of their interesting electric vehicles in the market. And there is more to come with L2 and the automated parking, which will also be launched this year. Continental is also working about it on this particular topic. And shared mobility, I think this is a topic which just goes on and off. When we looked at the COVID times, the shared mobility totally, the market went down and we were looking at mostly looking at personalized mobility. And again, the shared mobility has come back to picture and obviously looking at the emission, the pollution and all the other challenges what we have. Definitely, this is the way to go. The micro-mobility options and the shared mobility is here to stay for longer time. And there is another dimension which is getting added or which already got added, and that is on the sustainability part. So most of the organizations are planning to be carbon neutral by 2040, 2050. And there's a lot of discussion which is happening on reuse, recycle, refurbish, all the R's which are there, which is connected to sustainability. And the entire industry is working on this topic as well. And what has really happened is the transformation which has happened in the industry is, first it was a mechanical device, then a lot of it was hardware powered, and now it is software powered. So which means that a vehicle, a B segment or a mid-sized car, which has around 100 million lines of code now, by 2030 we are talking about 300 million lines of code. So that's the kind of exponential growth that we see in terms of the increase of software. And this also means that the value of the car is also determined by the software inside that. And the features are, earlier when we talk about a car, after the production, you cannot change any feature. The value of the car only decreased. But at the same time now, because of the software-enabled features, we are also able to upgrade the car, bring in new features after the car leaves the production as well. So which means that the value of the car can increase even after it is sold, which is a very different paradigm. There is also change of a lot of business models which is arising, which is subscription models, and the data is power inside the vehicle. They're talking about a lot of changes with respect to the OEM, the supplier, the technology company, how the entire ecosystem is working. And we're also talking about a lot of collaboration collaboration for co-creation. That is going to be the mantra in the future. So looking at, the automotive industry itself, I would say in the last decade, it has been really amazing the way it has changed. And to make it more amazing, I would say that there is a power of artificial intelligence in every aspect of the auto industry. So I come from Continental Automotive. Yeah, Continental Automotive works a lot on autonomous vehicle, connected cars, the safety systems, infotainment, and also special and commercial and special vehicles as well. And we have got a lot of COEs or Center of Excellences on cloud solutions, artificial intelligence, and so on. And AI is one of the topics that we focus on in our center. So looking at different facets of how AI is used, let's start from the manufacturing part itself. So from the manufacturing side, we have, okay, the cobots and the robots are getting popular. That's one part how we use AI. But at the same time, it also has a lot of impact on the supply chain management. So if you look at a modern factory now, we have the digital twin of the supply chain management, which is available. The entire supply chain is available. And if you remember, in the last 3 years, the entire industry, the automotive industry, has gone through an enormous crisis in terms of the semiconductor. And in this crisis, what could really help if you have a supply chain and a digital twin which is existing, and then that you can actually predict different, the different situations which are coming in. You can also see what is a critical path which is coming in. And this actually helped in many of the companies to, I would say, come out of the situation in a much better way. And wherever there was no prediction available, I think a lot of us really suffered about it. At the same time, in manufacturing, AI is also revolutionizing the way how we improve the quality of the production using visual inspections, using data, and again, looking at predictive maintenance for the machines itself, because most of these machines are very expensive and time to market becomes a very important factor. So in the manufacturing, that's it. The second area where it is revolutionizing is in the area of design. So if you, I'm a big player with the ChatGPT. If you really look at ChatGPT and you tell that, I need to make a PowerPoint and please make me a picture or an image of a new generation car. Maybe any of you can try it. I think you get very, very interesting designs, interesting concepts which are coming in, right? So which means that when we look at a future car design, earlier, the people who are designers, the designers had to spend many, many hours to really look at what are the features which is required. It's not only the aesthetic part, but also looking at the aerodynamics part as well as the customer preferences together. So AI is playing a very important role now to how exactly we design the cars. And many of the automotive OEMs have started using this in the design part. Very important is also in terms of research and development. In the research and development area, when I talk about the software itself, and we are talking about software-defined vehicles and software, there is a lot of automation which is coming in terms of AI is used in requirement management. And when we talk about the homologation which is happening, you can see that there are different regulations which are existing and different data points which are required for homologation. And to reduce the time, to crunch the time, AI is used in a really big way. And operational performance, obviously, is a very important topic, whether it is coming to plant, whether it is coming to the manufacturing, supply chain, design, development, testing, simulation, everywhere in terms of the performance, AI plays a very important role. Another important aspect is also in innovation. How does AI enable innovation? Because as you know, earlier, in the automotive industry, it took really 3 to 4 years to launch a car, or maybe faster. Now, I think when you talk about China, they are looking at, they want to launch car in a few months, which is practically, we are all getting challenged because of that. And everything that we are doing now is looking at time to market, and efficiency is actually a very, very important enabler. And since there was a talk on the semiconductors and electronic components, maybe I would like to take an example of innovation that could be in terms of material science. How is AI and material science converging when it comes to innovation? For example, when we are talking about a battery and the new chemicals which are used for battery, I think there are millions of combinations of chemicals and quantities which are getting analyzed on how we innovate the new battery systems. And that is where AI plays a very important role. If you look at it, the University of Warwick, and then we talk about Liverpool, all of them are investing heavily in terms of how do we innovate using artificial intelligence and how do we crunch the time. If these experiments had to be done separately by scientists, I think it would have taken a huge amount of time which we are saving. Another important aspect in the end of the cycle is sales and after sales, because I think we have come to a point that we really don't have to go to a showroom to see the cars, right? There's a lot of use of augmented and virtual reality. You look at the 3D image, you can play around with it. So I think in sales, AI, a very, very important topic, and also in terms of dynamic sales prediction, and also with respect to the after sales. I think you have the Gen AI topics which they call you and tell that your car needs a service at this point of time, and that combined with a combination of predictive maintenance actually helps quite a lot. And it is also even coming into insurance. So if you look at insurance, it looks at the driving pattern of the person and then looks at what kind of insurance premium that you have to pay. If you are a very rash driver, obviously the premium has to be high, and vice versa. So it's kind of, in the entire value chain, you can see that there is an impact of artificial intelligence. And in terms of the technology or the domain, what we have, I would say there are 5 areas which are getting important. So one is the user experience. The second is the intelligent transportation systems, autonomous driving, safety and comfort, and predictive maintenance. So user experience is in such a way that, it's like you use Siri at home, you have all these devices at home, you tell, can you help me, can you play my favorite music, or can you help me to mop the floor, whatever it is, right? So AI is also talking about Continental and Google has partnered together. This is basically, we have a voice-assisted system which gives a lot of instructions to the vehicle, and it makes it pretty much simpler in terms of whether it's in terms of infotainment, in terms of safety, in terms of your air condition settings, the biometrics to enter the car, and the different infotainment systems possibility for different passengers of the car. So it is not only safety, it is also about the experience that you have in the car. And intelligent transportation systems, I wish we had something like that in Bangalore to beat the traffic. So it is talking about route optimization, and the second thing is, again, route optimization is not only related to saving of time and the user experience, but also to talk about the sustainability part, because it is also related to the sustainability goal. The third is also related to the battery performance and how exactly, you can also extend the range of the battery by choosing an optimal route. So multiple use cases available there. Autonomous driving, yes, I think the previous speaker also spoke about it. But there are different features which we can choose, which is, for example, the EBA, what we call as emergency brake assist. So probably, when the car is driving, you have suddenly somebody jumping onto the road, and how exactly you can do the emergency braking automatically, even though the driver misses it. Currently, if you look at the analysis of all the accidents that is happening, 95% of the accidents are happening because of human error. And the whole idea of autonomous driving is basically not only the comfort that we can sit and relax, but at the same time, the main purpose is to reduce the accidents. So whether it is a lane change assist or emergency braking, the adaptable cruise control, and so on, there is a lot of features in autonomous driving that we can use, and all of them powered by AI. Safety and comfort, we already spoke about. Predictive maintenance is not only for the manufacturing and the plant part, but it is also related to your vehicle itself. When does your vehicle have to go for service? Because currently we tell, 12 months or 5,000 kilometers, 10,000 kilometers, whatever. And sometimes we actually go and give the vehicle before it is ready, and sometimes the other way, you have overused the vehicle and still you don't give for service. So somewhere in between that, this also saves money, and it's also, again, a user experience perspective that we are seeing. So when we are talking about AI, Gen AI, if you look at the last 1 year, the most used buzzword in technology would have been Gen AI. Whether we know about it or not, I think everybody loves to use Gen AI as a buzzword, and it has been in use also. I mean, I think there are a lot of pilots which are running as well. So I would like to talk a little bit in the next 2-3 minutes on Gen AI and autonomous vehicles. In the autonomous vehicle scenario, there are 4 different areas in which Gen AI is used to a large extent. So first one is designing and optimizing the autonomous solutions, like the features which I mentioned. There is a lot of data which is required because the entire autonomous driving can be successful only if you have large amount of data, and this data has to be processed. For example, even if you want to know what is the position of the car, I think you need to process data from your lidar, your ultrasonic sensors, your camera, and then you need to use sensor fusion. From all these sensors, you get the data, you have sensor fusion, you apply your models, then we do an environmental modeling, and then you find out where your car is, right? So starting from there to optimizing, we need Gen AI. Then more the data, it is much better. The second thing is enhancing the sensor data processing itself. And for example, in a driving situation, the cars are really fitted with these kind of sensors, which gives you a 360-degree view of the vehicle. Yeah, and there is a lot of data being churned, the data getting continuously coming in and getting churned, the model is getting better. At the same time, sometimes you have data missing, and that's where you need a little bit of synthetic data to cover up what is not being available. So enhancing sensor data processing also is done by Gen AI to a large extent. The third aspect is looking at the simulating the driving environment. Because we are talking about a safety critical aspect, we cannot play with human life. So if you want to have a simulation of a child crossing a road, or maybe in India, when we talk about cows crossing the road or animal crossing the road, or maybe a pothole detection and so on, everything we cannot do it in the real life situation. So a lot of this has happened through simulation. And there is a lot of data that we use, synthetic data that is used to simulate all these environment, the data environment. And the more the data, we can actually have much more accurate model, and the precision is better. Similarly, refining the object recognition and prediction, the sensors what we have, they are used for, I would say, three things. What is sense, plan, and act? Because they are acting as the eyes and ears of you, the camera, lidars, and so on. Then you need to plan, and then you need to predict what is required, and then you need to act. And all of them in terms of few milliseconds, right? So this refining is also done by the help of Gen AI at this point of time. But at the same time, I'll take another 2-3 minutes, the time shows 0. A few challenges. One is the consequence of malfunctioning is severe because we are talking about human life. And especially in an integrated system, when you have an ecosystem, we have a V2I, a V2X, and so on. And even if you have a cybersecurity breach which is happening, the consequence can be really high. The data collection is very, it's very complex. For example, now we are trying to launch certain autonomous vehicle in India. We don't have really the full data available for India. So we have now test vehicles running across collecting data. Is that good enough? It's not, because the more data, as I mentioned, it is much better there. The other thing, all of us know that there is a potential bias in AI, and the AI generated data as well as decision. We need to look at it a little bit more objectively. AI models tend to hallucinate, and hallucination impacts have to be reduced to a large extent. And the data privacy and security we already knows about. And most important is also retention and sustaining. Because there is, if you think that, AI, you put a model and then it's work forever, it doesn't. Because the situation is changing, there is a lot of maintenance which is required for all these models, because you need more and more data, you need more and more scenarios which are coming in, so that's pretty much important. And last but not the least, it is also a need for educated regulation. Ethical AI, where do we use AI? And you also need to have an educated regulation, right? So summary from this couple of minutes, what I spoke is, one is AI is sitting behind the wheels in terms of, if you look at an automated driving scenario, we are putting artificial intelligence behind the wheels instead of a human. And it is taking the wheels and transforming all fields of mobility, starting from design to sales to everything. The primary goals are three things, which is safety, efficiency, autonomy, and also the user experience, which is becoming very, very important, especially with the new generation. And from the OEM and the tier 1 perspective, we are talking about, all of you know that we have a crisis now in the industry, and a lot of focus is on cost in terms of productivity, in terms of time to market. And this is very important. New business and revenue models have come in. This is because of the SDV as well as the use of data. So this is something which will keep evolving, and I'm sure that there is a time which will come where data is going to be the currency in the mobile world. And last but not the least, we need to look at a lot of challenges which are to be addressed, which is there are limitations of the technology, like I mentioned about AI models, ethical use, then data privacy and security, if you have to make the potential of this. So I always tell that, AI, it's like a genie out of the bottle. The genie is there now. So it is up to us to see how do we control the genie and how do we make best use of the genie. So that's something which we have to learn how to do it. So I would say that we are talking about efficient, sustainable, and smarter journeys through AI. So thank you very much. So I really believe in this quote which talks that, I never believe that AI is a substitute for human intelligence, but it is a tool which can augment the human creativity and ingenuity. So thank you very much for the listening.